is equal to 100 minus 3q, which is 3 times 20, which is, this is 60, 60 from 100 is 40. And this thing exceeds marginal cost. And so Crystal should keep producing. Now, if it was the other way around, then she shouldn't produce. Okay? So now with that being said, let's do some multiple choice questions, and you can get a feel for how to answer these questions in multiple choice format, and you'll be more prepared to do testing quizzes. Okay? Jerry's Donut Shop employs 10 people. Each of these individuals work 1,000 hours per year, and their hourly wage is $8. In addition, the donut shop has supplies and raw materials that cost $150 a year, and rental costs for $50,000 a year. Jerry knows that he could secure a job at Alice's pastry place, where he could earn $60,000 a year. Currently, the bank in Jerry's town is paying 5% interest per year on all funds deposited in the bank. So let's just do highlight some stuff here. And so we know employees make 8,000. I'm sorry. There's 10 employees working 1,000 hours a year at $8 an hour. And so that's going to be part of our cost for labor. This is our cost of raw materials and supplies. And this is our cost for rent. And so altogether we have our explicit cost. Something else to consider is he can make $6,000 a year working for someone else, and the money he makes and puts in the bank, he can get 5% interest per year. Now here we're not talking about any concerns for capital, so we're not going to worry about depreciation. So let's answer our first question. Jerry's explicit costs per year include blank and are equal to blank. Well, we know it involves labor, supplies and raw materials, and rent, but does that add up to, but one more thing before I go on. Does it involve his salary? Well, no, right? It can't, because that's an opportunity cost. So A doesn't seem to work. Again, we can't involve C because we're talking about an opportunity cost. Salary, again, opportunity cost. And so our only answer is the labor costs, the supplies and raw materials, and the rental cost, which adds up to $280,000. Okay? So now Jerry's explicit cost underestimates the opportunity cost by how much? Well, let's figure out what the opportunity cost is. So we have the 6,000. And whatever money he puts into the bank, he gets 5% interest. So let's see. Well, for simplicity, let's say he took the, sorry, I'm just trying to think how I want to phrase this. he took this money that he makes and puts it in the bank, gets the 5% interest, and that's going to give him another $5,000 on top of that. And so if you add the two together, the opportunity cost is $65,000. And so that doesn't include the explicit cost, and so it underestimates it by $65,000. Essentially, we were just finding the opportunity cost. So suppose Jerry's donuts sell for $1 per donut, and his accounting profit was $100,000 a year. Jerry sold blank donuts this year, and his economic profit was what? Well, recall that we're saying AP is 100,000. That's equal to his explicit cost, which I believe we found to be 280. But we're going to take Q minus 280,000. You could put a 1 here, but it's 1 times Q, and so you'll just get Q. And so the quantity he's selling is 380,000 donuts. So we found our first part. And so that means C and D are no good because it's not 38,000, it's 380,000. And economic profit is accounting profit minus opportunity cost. So if you take 100,000, subtract off the 65,000, you get the 35,000. And so our answer here should be B. Our last question regarding this prompt is, given the preceding information that includes $1 per donut, Jerry tries to calculate the level of accounting profits where it's no longer beneficial for Jerry to operate his shop. Well, remember what I said, the either-or decision compares the accounting profit to the opportunity cost. And if the accounting profit exceeds or is equal to the opportunity cost, then you want to stay in business. So that's great that we want to consider accounting profits to be positive, but we need to compare it to something. And so A is just not sufficient. And sell the business, since he's only focusing on accounting profits and not economics profits, well, we don't know that for sure. So that just sounds silly, so we'll get rid of it. So when should he no longer operate his shop? Is it when accounting profits fall below 65,000 or exceed? Well, remember I said keep the business if it exceeds 65,000. And so D cannot be the answer. And so it has to be C, when accounting profits fall below 65,000. And so there's some multiple choice questions regarding some either or decision. Let's take a moment and do another set of multiple choice questions that involve marginal analysis. So here, I give you a table of Kylie's ice cream shop, the quantity of servings of ice cream, total cost, and total benefits. And we're going to use this table to solve the next couple multiple choice questions. So first, let's find the marginal cost of producing an additional serving of ice cream if 200 servings are currently being produced. Well, I'm at 200. If I go to 300, that's 100 units change. And from here, it cost me $500 and now cost me $550, and so we're going to have a change of $50. So marginal cost, again, is the change in total cost over the change in quantity, and that's equal to 1/2, or in money terms, 50 cents per unit. And so the answer is D. People might mistakenly put 50, but remember, marginal cost says what is it per one additional unit, and so you have to do the conversion. So going from 0 to 400 units, what's happening with marginal cost? Well, here the change in cost is 50. From here, the change in cost is 50. From here, again, it's 50. From here to here, it's 50. And so the change in cost is just 50. And so since and let's look at what's happening with quantity. Well, this is going to be 100, 100, 100, and 100. And since change in quantity is just 100, that means regardless, you're going to have the same marginal cost. And so we say marginal cost is constant. So what is the marginal benefit of producing one more serving of ice cream if 300 units are currently being produced? Well, we know this is 100. This is going to be going from $9.50 to $9.75. So that's $25. And so marginal benefit is the change in benefit, which is 25, over change in quantity, which is 100. And so we get 25 cents per unit. And so what is the optimal number of servings to produce? Remember, we want to know, when does MC equal MB? Well, let's just look at the change in cost and the change in benefit. Well, we know this is constant, so I'm just going to do it for us. Well, because the change in quantity is uniform, we're just going to do a comparison between the change in costs to change in benefit. And you can see that occurs at 300 units. And so the answer must be B, 300 units, because it's when the marginal cost equals marginal benefit, because the change in cost is equal to the change in benefit. And so here were some examples of multiple choice questions on marginal analysis. So next week, I'll put out another video on chapter 11 and the preceding chapters moving forward. Please let me know if you have any additional questions, and I hope the examples today help you study. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email or during my office hours.